they will use the IRS to go after people that don't support their agenda. And I think when you see that they're going to be armed and things like this is a very frightening, and we're going to turn into what we saw in communist countries.
And that was Reverend Franklin Graham, the son of the late evangelist Billy Graham, pointing out to Eric Bolling on his show The Balance this week, talking about the IRS, as the agency is set to hire thousands and thousands of more agents. This as inflation is falling slightly from June to July to 8.5%, still, however, hovering near a 40-year high. But President Biden is now saying he's taking a victory lap, tweeting out, get this, July's 0% inflation and last week's booming jobs report underscore the kind of economy that we're building, an economy that works for everyone, so the president says. Well, joining us now to discuss all of this is chief economist and global strategist at Europac.com. There he is, and host of SchiffRadio.com, Peter Schiff. Pete, great to have you here. And also joining us is former New York Congressman, also my friend there, Congressman Peter King. Congressman King, let me get to you first on this. The whole thing with the IRS, what do you make of it? The fact that in this new Inflation Reduction Act, which we'll get to that in a moment if it's really that, but it's hiring 87,000 IRS agents, and that's going to make it bigger than the Border Patrol, than State Department, Pentagon, those combined, Congressman King. I mean, that's stunning. What's your reaction?
No, it really is. Listen, the spending in the bill is bad enough. That's going to cause long-term consequences. But I think the one that's going to cause the most damage are these 87,000 new IRS agents. I mean, we saw under the Obama administration, Lois Lerner, how the IRS uses their auditing power to go after political opponents and people they disagree with. And listen, I hope it doesn't happen. I haven't gone through an audit. I've had good friends who had, and even at the end of the time, it turned out they were owed money. What it cost them for that year and a half of their life, having their lives turned upside down. And also, if you're a small business person, you can be put out of business. These type of audits, the way they just it ties you down so much. There's so much. It's really an invasion. It's almost like a raid at Mar-a-Lago, to be honest with you. I mean, it's the whole idea of them being able to do this. Listen, the IRS has to have certain powers to enforce, but this many new agents, and considering the past record of the IRS and going after political opponents, I think this is extremely dangerous.
Peter Schiff, just even from a financial standpoint, what's your reaction that that's where the money is going right now?
I mean, towards the IRS? I mean, yeah. I agree. I think this is terrible. That's one of the reasons I don't even think we should have an income tax. I think the government should fund itself with excise taxes. I don't think that subjecting Americans to these types of audits is the type of country that the founding fathers envisioned when they created this republic. I mean, that's why they assumed that the government would finance itself with excise taxes and made it very difficult to impose direct taxes, subjecting them to the rule of apportionment. So, yeah, and I don't think that these IRS agents are going to be targeting the wealthy, the billionaires, or even the millionaires. They can avoid taxes legally. It's the middle class, it's small business owners, it's people who are self-employed. That's who's in the IRS crosshairs. And they're going to be hit not only with huge tax bills, but interest and penalties that will actually exceed what they owed in taxes.
Yeah, and in fact, Peter Schiff, to that point, the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, came out and it says that the act is actually going to tax those making under $400,000 a year. It's going to account for $20 billion in revenue. And the Democrats promised they weren't going to be hitting anybody making under $400,000. That doesn't seem accurate, right, Peter Schiff?
Well, of course not. In fact, the inflation tax hits hardest the people who earn the least. And, and the fact that Biden is taking, doing a victory dance, I want to throw a flag for taunting. I mean, July, sure, gas prices dropped from very high levels, but look at food prices annualized. In July, food prices jumped the most since 1982. We had huge increases in shelter, in services. So it wasn't a good month. It was another bad month for consumers. It was just masked by a temporary drop in gasoline prices for 1 month.
And Peter King, what's your reaction to the fact that the president is taking this victory lap? Obviously, Peter Schiff takes exception to it. A lot of Americans do, too.
Yeah, listen, he's just going against reality. Fact is that inflation is still at a 40-year high. And as Peter Schiff was saying, we're talking about food, we're talking about basic commodities that people have to have. The prices, the rate of inflation is even higher. So the inflation rate extent was brought down from 9.1 to 8.5 was almost entirely because less people are driving, for that matter, too, which is bringing down the cost of gas at the pump. But no, this is we're in bad shape in this economy. And listen, presidents can't always control what's going to happen in the economy. But the wounds we suffered today are all self-inflicted by Joe Biden, beginning when he shut down the pipeline and the tremendous impediments he's putting in against oil exploration and development. So no, this is all at the hands, all at the feet of Joe Biden.
And as we also see, Congressman, he's also talking about more green energy with this act that he's planning on signing next week. So it doesn't seem to be changing course, despite what we're all seeing right now. Congressman Peter King, so great to have you, and also Peter Schiff, the two Petes. I love having you both with me this morning. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.